Check out the latest from the WYXR Podcast Network. Just Bluffin' is a Memphis-centric podcast from Campfire Collective, featuring interviews with Memphis community leaders and more.
Chip Washington, when it comes to information, the man got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's a local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open and you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go. Here we go on this 30th day of October 2023, 6 o'clock straight up. That means it's time for Real Talk Memphis. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hope you can hang with us for the next hour. We have a pretty good show for you tonight. We are very happy to have you with us as always. It's cold. Just in case you hadn't been outside all day, let me just tell you, it's cold. It's cold. Last week, we were in the mid-80s each and every day. They said the bottom was going to drop out today, and boy, did it. It has not been out of the 40s all afternoon long, a brisk breeze, and yeah, it's time to get the jackets and the layers and whatever else, the scarves and hats and whatever else makes you warm. Now, we're going to have a very cold night tonight. A freeze warning is in effect, ladies and gentlemen, this tonight and into tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. This is the day before Halloween, which means for all you ghouls and goblins out there, big or little, you may want to throw some layers on tonight as you hit the streets or tomorrow night as you hit the streets, because it's going to be quite the chill in the air. If I didn't introduce myself, my name is Chip Washington. I am the humble one, the host of this show. Very happy to be here with all of you this evening. Whether you are watching on Facebook Live, whether you are listening to us on the radio or on computer or however you're getting us, we are very happy that you are out there as well. Before we get started, how do you get this fine piece of radio broadcasting? Well, I'm always glad when you ask that question. You can do it a number of ways. Of course, we are live right now on WYXR 91.7 on your FM dial. You can also catch us on the TuneIn app, WYXR.org. Let's see, yes, a TuneIn, right? You also have Facebook. Facebook, we are live streaming the show on Facebook Live this evening. And tomorrow, once they post the finished show, you can catch us on YouTube. And, of course, wherever it is you get your podcast. So welcome in, welcome in. Look, it's too cold to be hanging around outside. So you might as well just get home, turn the heat on, sit in front of the fireplace if that's your thing. You can pick up your your portable device, your phone, or whatever it is you use to connect with the outside world. Connect with us for the next hour or so, because as I said before, we have a great show in store for you tonight. Now, I will tell you that my news and notes have just disappeared. I have no idea where they are, and I don't know what happened, but I know I had them earlier, but they're not here. So we'll try to muddle through in the meantime here. But I will tell you this. Normally, right around the top of this show, I always celebrate the birthdays, whether they were over the weekend, whether they were yesterday, today, this week. But I can't find my list, so I can't do that tonight. So I don't have to say hit it, Bren. But I will tell you this: if you have celebrated a birthday recently, or you're celebrating one today, from all of us here, we are glad you made another trip around the sun. And we hope to be here next year to celebrate another trip around the sun, or your next trip around the sun. By that time, I will find the list, and I will have my list of it. Actually, Lola, you know the star of Level Lola, the show that comes on before us each and every night. She actually has a birthday. Lola, it's on you.
I have a Halloween birthday.
Oh no! What's happening?
Happy birthday, T. Alice. Love you much.
T. Alice is she's a Halloween baby.
She's a Halloween baby.
All right then. All right. Well, happy birthday to you, T. Alice. We appreciate it, and each and every one of you out there who has been celebrating viciously for the last 2 or 3 days. Guests tonight on the show include our first guest, who will be with us in just a few minutes. Her name is Kimberly Gaither, and we are honoring Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm always bound and determined to get these things in when I can, and we do have a guest this evening. Kimberly is a breast cancer survivor more than once. She's actually diagnosed with something called triple negative breast cancer, which is a pretty aggressive form of breast cancer affecting women younger than the age of 40. So she'll come on in just a few minutes and share her struggle and her courage and her survival. We look forward to hearing her story, of course, a little bit later on. We're going to be talking to an organization. I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of them. I didn't hear of them until very recently. Somebody brought it to my attention. Vintage 901. What is that, you're asking? Well, it's a nonprofit organization that promotes access to the culinary arts, cooking through education, enrichment, and community engagement. Now, we're going to have their CEO. Her name is Stephanie Ferreira. She will be joining us in just a little bit to talk about an annual brunch that is going to be happening here pretty soon. But the reason for that brunch is to help students who are interested in becoming the future chefs of America by offering a scholarship award. And, you know, I like stuff like that. So we're going to be talking to Stephanie about that a little bit later on. And in the second half hour, filmmaking is a big deal. Filmmaking and filmmakers here, big deal here in the city of Memphis, and of course all over the country and all over the world. Well, I have a young man who will be joining me in the second half hour who has his own production company. He has done a couple of films. He's in production on a film right now that he will talk about in just a little bit. But more importantly, in all of this, he wants to teach young people the art of producing and filmmaking so they can fulfill their dreams as well. His name is Robert Salone. He will be joining me in the second half hour of the show. So there you go. Very happy to have all of them with us. And like I said before, it's going to be a great show tonight. So a few news and notes off the top of my head. There was a tragic house fire this morning in Whitehaven. 2 elderly women, one in her 60s and the other one in her 80s, unfortunately did not survive the fire. It was not intentional, according to fire officials. It was electrical in nature, but these people perished. One of my guests just texted me and said they didn't get their info about how to log in here to join. Check your junk email. If you can hear me, Kimberly, this is Kimberly. Go to your junk email or go to your spam email, and you'll see an email from Ayana. And that will tell you what time you need to log in. I think, isn't that her logged in at the top there? Huh? Oh, no, that's, okay, she's way early. Okay, yeah. Huh? It says Real Talk Memphis in the subject line, Kimberly, so hopefully you can find it. Also, it's been a tough weekend in the city in terms of violent episodes. We had 4 people dead, 8 people shot. This afternoon, 2 women who were standing in front of a fire station on Winchester Road were shot just about an hour ago, one of them in critical condition. So, the beat goes on and on and on and on around here in terms of, where we are. Last week, many of you heard about the incident that happened behind a courtroom as individuals who had been arrested were about to make their first court appearance. They were in a holding cell behind the courtroom. and two individuals got into a verbal beef. One spit on the other one. The suspect pulled what appeared to be a shank and stabbed the victim in the neck. That victim did not survive. So we have yet another incident that has happened at the 201 Poplar regarding the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, and that, of course, will be investigated. The individual suspect who stabbed the individual in question has now been charged with first-degree murder. Over the weekend, Gershon Freeman's family filed a $100 million lawsuit against Shelby County, Sheriff Lloyd Bonner, and Chief Jailer Kirk Fields. On behalf, we all know about what happened to Gershon Freeman, who was having a mental episode inside the jail. He was being chased, and several officers in the pursuit of trying to pursue him. He ended up dying after that. So his family is, there are so many lawsuits being filed on behalf of individuals who are no longer with us against the city of Memphis, the Memphis Police Department, individuals in question that were responsible for the murder of Tyree Nichols. And now you have 8 or 9 individuals who have been charged in the death of Gershon Freeman. 2 of those individuals actually charged with second-degree murder in addition to aggravated assault. So there's a lot. I mean, really, there's a lot going on. So now you have civil suits from the city toward the city, toward the county, toward individuals in question. In all of these cases, and God only knows what's going to happen in terms of what else is coming down the road. Our mayor-elect is going to have a lot on his plate, and the questions are already starting. Well, what are we going to do about crime? What are we going to do about crime? How are we going to deal with the issues at hand? I have said repeatedly on this show and other places that if you have no deterrent for crime, you will always have crime. And if these individuals go in jail one day after committing serious crimes in this city and are bailed out the next, I mean, how's anybody going to learn a lesson here? Somebody has to stand up and say something about what is happening out here. And more importantly, rather than stand, do something about what is happening out here. We have to take responsibility for what is taking place out here. And nobody seems to be doing that these days, and it's a bit frustrating in terms of all of that. On the Facebook Live line, several folks out there. Michael Harris, Connie May is watching us. GKP, Jay Worth is watching us tonight as well. So I appreciate all of you. We're going to take our first break of the night. And when we come back, we're going to hopefully get into the show and talk to Kimberly Gaither. She is a breast cancer survivor. And if she's listening to us, you can go in your junk mail, subject line, Real Talk Memphis, and it will tell you you're up first, by the way. But if not, I'll switch things around. Is she there? All right, very good. She is there. So let's take our first break of the evening. Sit back, relax, get warm, get comfortable, and prepare for a great Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
WYXR's biggest annual event is back. Raised by Soundfest is Saturday, December 2nd at Crosstown Concourse, sponsored by Mempho Presents. Free live music all day long featuring Bass Drum of Death, AJ Haynes, Rod Smoth, Rosie, Madam Frankie, and the U of M Blue Tom Review. Capped off with 2 fundraising events. Cat Power sings Dylan, the 1966 Royal Albert Hall concert at Crosstown Theater, and the DJ After Party with Alex Brown at Crosstown Arts Green Room. Get details about the fest and tickets to fundraising events at raisedbysoundfest.com. Acoustic Sunday Live, now in its third decade, is proud to support WYXR and to present the Concert to Protect Our Aquifer, taking place at 7 p.m. on Sunday, December 3rd, at First Congo Church, located at 1000 Cooper Street. Performances include Shamika Copeland, Tracy Nelson, Tim O'Brien with Jan Fabricus, Loudon Wainwright III, and special guests. More information at 901-237-2972 or acousticsundaylive.com.
Church Health's Memphis Plan continues its decades-long commitment to serving local musicians with comprehensive health care and also tailors its focus to small business owners and the self-employed. Health care through the Memphis Plan provides care in Memphis for Memphians. Related services include preventative health, optometry, dental care, and more. More information regarding availability at memphisplan.org or at 901-272-PLAN.
You're listening, but are you in the know? The WYXR weekly newsletter is the best source for keeping up with events at WYXR, whether they are happening on our airwaves, behind the scenes, or out in the community. Log on to newsletter.wyxr.org to sign up for our mailing list and keep yourself in the loop.
WYXR doesn't go to sleep at night. We keep the music moving. Memphis music, that is. When our DJs clock out, our automation clocks in with music right from our community. Produced, performed, and written by Memphians, or in Memphis. Some are hits, and some are rarely heard, but they all tell the story of one of the world's greatest music cities. Visit WYXR.org for playlist and scheduling information. Email submissions@WYXR.org to let us hear your Memphis music. We may just play it.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening in the city. A cold, chilly, raw Monday evening in the city. Chip with you. Glad to have you with us. Also glad to have my first guest. As I said, we were wrapping up sort of this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month as we deal with that every October. There are thousands of women and even some men out there who deal with breast cancer issues each and every year. And I always want to have somebody on the show who can speak to it from an original place. And my first guest can do that. Her name is Kimberly Gaither, and she is a breast cancer survivor. And first of all, Kim, thank you for coming on the show. Great to see you, and thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, I want people to understand your story, and you and I talked a little bit offline about all of this, and you have really gone through some very interesting trials. If you wouldn't mind sharing your story. Now, you're one of those folks that have, as I alluded to at the beginning, it's triple negative breast cancer. Yes. For those of us who don't know or understand what that means, please explain that to us.
So I've been diagnosed 3 times with triple negative breast cancer, invasive ductal carcinoma. That is one of the it's considered the most aggressive form of breast cancer. And that means that it reacts to nothing. It reacts to no hormones, estrogen. It doesn't react to anything but chemo and surgery. So when they told me that I was diagnosed with it originally, they told me that they would have to treat it very aggressively. Mm-hmm. And they did, with some of the strongest chemotherapy that there is out there. As a matter of fact, my hair started falling out after my first dose of chemo.
Wow. That is, that in and of itself. And you said diagnosed not once, not twice, but 3 times with this.
Yes, 3 times.
And obviously, one of the most aggressive forms of it. Did you have any issues at all in terms of sort of self-doubt in terms of kind of, your survival in all of this? You seem like a very young woman, but I mean, obviously hearing that type of news and understanding what you would have had to have gone through in order to try to save your life. I mean, did you have any doubts through this period of time at all?
So initially, when the day that I got the diagnosis, I cried like a baby. So much so that I was with my mom and she brought me home to my dad, and he was rocking me like a baby and just told me that I was not about to die from cancer. So, we were getting ready to fight. And that's what I did. So immediately it almost just felt like something dried everything up in me. And I was like, okay, it's time to fight. And I knew that I could beat it. I knew that it was very aggressive. I knew that what they were saying about it. I was 39 at the time. And it was the very beginning of COVID. So it was March 19th of 2020 when everything was shutting down.
Oh, man.
I was being diagnosed with breast cancer. But I felt like that was, at first I was like, oh, this is going to be bad because everything is shutting down and, we're so unsure. But that it was actually a good time to be diagnosed because everything was shutting down and I was missing out on nothing. So no one was having any parties that I couldn't go to because of breast cancer. So I was excited about that.
Okay. Well, given that and given the timing for everything, you went through initial treatment. Now, let me ask you, because if I'm correct, most of the individuals who get breast cancer, it's hereditary. So is there a history of breast cancer in your family?
So I do have an aunt that passed away from breast cancer about 9 years ago, but it doesn't run in my family. I was tested for the gene, the BRCA gene, that says whether or not it's hereditary or whether or not your family, your mom, your brothers, sisters, dad need to get tested. And I tested negative and was given a less than 5% chance of recurrence when I first had my double mastectomy and went through all of the chemotherapy.
So you were initially diagnosed, I guess it was in 2020, I guess, right? Is that the first? And so when was the next, when did it come back?
So March of 2020 was the first diagnosis.
Right.
December of 2020 was the second diagnosis. And it was because I initially had 3 tumors in my breast and they biopsied and marked them. But when the doctor did my double mastectomy, he left a tumor behind. So I ended up having to go back through everything all over again. But this time I had to do radiation. Surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy that time.
Oh, wow. And the third incidence of this?
The third incident was the day after my birthday this year. It was January 17th, 2023.
Oh, wow.
That was my most recent breast cancer diagnosis.
So you had to go through the same type of treatment? Sounds like it was pretty harsh.
Yes, it was pretty harsh. I had to go through about 4 months of chemotherapy. Since I'd had radiation the second time I was diagnosed, the doctor didn't want to do more radiation because I had about 30 rounds of radiation that time. So they didn't want to radiate that area anymore. But I did have surgery. I had 4 months of chemotherapy. And now I'm still doing immunotherapy. I'll be doing that for a year. And that's an injection that kind of has your body fighting against the cancer, but it can also fight against your organs and things that you need. So I see the doctor every 3 weeks to make sure that I'm still cancer free and that my organs and other things aren't failing.
So are we good with that in terms of the other organs and things like that?
Oh yeah, I'm great.
Wow.
I'm great. I feel great. I don't have any issues when I go to the doctor every 3 weeks. I get a really good diagnosis. My blood work looks great. Labs are great.
Well, bless you. That's absolutely amazing to have to go through that at such a young age. And clearly, you seem to be doing well. You look great. You look,
Thank you.
I mean, from what I can see, and
Thank you.
And you sound very upbeat and enthusiastic as well. But you have a story to tell, and I'm sure that you have told it, and I'm sure that you have shared it with many people. would you like people to know about the importance of checking yourself or getting checked for breast cancer, especially if you come from a family history of that? I mean, what kind of message would you like to share with individuals in terms of what you have gone through?
Well, my main message is that positivity is medicine. The doctors can do all that they can do, but if you are not positive about your journey, it's not going to be a good journey for you. I went through breast cancer with a breeze. The treatment was hard. It's cancer treatment.
Sure.
But it was some of the best times of my life that I have endured cancer. I have been able to go to all my chemotherapy appointments with my dad, so I had a chance to get closer to my dad. My family, we have dinner every single Sunday, so they are able to lay eyes on me and make sure that I am still good and beating cancer. And I was able to lay eyes on them. So number one is positivity is medicine. 2, have a really good village around you. Mm-hmm. And then 3, make sure that you advocate for yourself. Because the second time that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, the doctor was saying that it was possibly scar tissue that I was feeling. And I didn't want to go with a probably or a possibly because I was already a cancer patient.
Yeah.
So I made sure that I advocated and I would not take no for an answer. I demanded that they biopsy that lump, and it was actually the tumor that he left behind. Mm. So it's very important to advocate for yourself, and then really also know your body. I was standing in the airport and I just put my hands under my arms because I was cold, and I felt the lump, and I knew that it hadn't been there for a long time because I do my own exams often. Mm-hmm. So you definitely need to know your body because you don't know what changes have happened or when the change happened unless you check your body, and you can tell your doctor what's going on and when it happened.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, the thing that we hear the most is go get a mammogram. Go get your mammogram. It is extraordinarily important. There's still a lot of women that just don't do that. But I mean, based on everything you just said, that has to be probably the most important.
Yes, it's very important. However, a lot of the people that I've met since I've been diagnosed were under the age of 40. So our first mammograms were the diagnostic mammogram after we had already been diagnosed with breast cancer. Mm. So that's something that if you have it in your family, I would suggest that you advocate and ask the doctor to do a mammogram before 40. But you really need to, at 40, start doing the mammograms to make sure that you catch anything that might be lingering.
Well, listen, I am just extraordinarily happy for you, and you're a fighter. There's no doubt about that, and I think you will continue to fight. The picture that you sent me that is on Facebook for anybody who didn't see it, is you standing there with that. There it is. That's the shot right there. And I said to myself, okay, yeah, this one here has got some fight in her, no doubt about that.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. But Kimberly, thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing your story. And I'm hoping that people that listen to this will get something from it, and more importantly, learn the importance of making sure that you examine yourself and more importantly, if you need to be treated, get treated. Kimberly Gaither, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, take care of yourself. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That is a survivor story if I've ever heard one. And again, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and mammograms. Get your mammograms. And yes, this is not just something, although it does predominantly affect women, men have been known to be diagnosed with breast cancer as well. So fellas, if you notice something that's a bit abnormal in that area, go get it checked, all right? And go get it looked at. Man, that was a great interview. I really appreciate that. We're going to take another break. And when we come back, we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about folks who have aspirations. If you've ever watched shows like with Gordon Ramsay, like Hell's Kitchen, and those type of contests, that's kind of what this is all about, the culinary world. We'll talk about it when we come back on the other side. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
WYXR is supported by Memfo, presenting Green Sky Bluegrass at Minglewood Hall on Thursday, November 16th. This is an all-ages show and will include an opening set by Lindsay Liu. Ticket information and availability at memfopresents.com. Support for WYXR comes from New Ballet Ensemble and School. Nut Remix is back at the Cannon Center, November 17th, 18th, and 19th. A modern reinvention of Tchaikovsky's classic Nutcracker, set on Bill Street with the Memphis Symphony Orchestra and Jilkin dancer Lil Buck. More information at newballet.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to the show on this chilly Monday evening, Real Talk Memphis with Chip. And, of course, we talked about it before the break. Oh, and before that, in my last interview, Lola was looking at my hands, and she said it looked like I was working on cars in the Cove. So she gave me some cream. I had to use some hand cream here during the break to try to loosen things up. But we were talking about the culinary world, people who are interested in cooking and learning, about that wonderful business. And so it was brought to my attention about an organization out here that is doing something to help young minds who might be in that direction. It is called Vintage 901. It's a nonprofit organization that promotes access to the culinary arts through education, enrichment, and community engagement. And I wanted to find out more about this. So we are very happy to have Stephanie Ferreira. Stephanie, now, did I pronounce your last name right? Is it Ferreira?
Absolutely.
I did it. Look at that.
Yeah.
Stephanie is the founder and CEO of Vintage 901. And Stephanie, it's great to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Chip. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. So listen, for those of us who are not familiar, tell us a little bit about Vintage 901 and what it's all about.
Well, the way that it started, Chip, Vintage 901 is a 501c3 that was started to be, what we wanted to do was to be able to bring education, wine and food education to Memphis, and to open that up to, I guess you say, all factions of people, just not people that might be connoisseurs or aficionados, that it would be for the curious or people that wanted to learn a little bit more about things like wine pairings and what foods to actually pair with a particular type of wine, or even interested in knowing more about the terroir, how grapes, things like that are grown. And so from that start that we had in 2017, we've kind of bridged, I guess you say, into looking at it more holistically, in that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry with a lot of underserved groups right now that are not part of this industry at all.
Well, that's very and that in and of itself is very interesting to me. Now, you have decided at some particular point in time to support young people. Because as you said, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you're not only teaching them, about the fine side of dining and things like that, preparing them for that. Why did you decide to start a scholarship? Because the basis of all of this is that you are going to provide students, high school, and I think college, with an opportunity to get a scholarship award for those who are interested in pursuing a degree in culinary arts. That really attracted me to what it is you're trying to do here.
Well, I think that you know, as well as many people know, education is expensive.
Yes.
And it's becoming more and more elusive in just within our community. And so everyone is not going to go to school, Chip, to, let's just say, be a hedge fund manager or a doctor or a lawyer or those types of things. There are a lot of other skill sets and opportunities to have a really good life for young people. And what I think our team was seeing over and over again is we were doing our events. The people who were coming to the table in a lot of cases, particularly in the wine and spirits industry, they just weren't looking like us. Mm-hmm. And so those are the things that we wanted to work on.
Well, that in and of itself is something you're teaching young people, heading them in a career that could really be beneficial to them in the future. Now, you have, I believe it's an annual event that is coming up. You have one coming up here in another couple of weeks in November. Am I correct in that?
You're correct. Usually what we do is anywhere from, I would say, 3 to probably 6 events a year. Now, COVID did kind of hamper that,
right,
some of them, okay? Mm-hmm. But we will have a Perfect Pairings brunch. Again, every event that we have, Chip, has the education component to it, meaning someone's going to walk out with more knowledge leaving out of the door than they actually came in with. We have sommeliers that are on site. We have also, the wonderful thing in the culinary arts is like with this brunch and dinners that we have, the chefs that actually prepare these dinners and these meals and these brunches and things like that will actually educate the guest on how it was prepared, where the product came from, because you got a couple of things going on here before you get food to the consumer. So we want to be able to educate people on that too, the farms and the different chicories and things like that, where products are coming from.
So basically what you're saying is there's a lot more that goes into all of this, the learning, the preparation, the training, and everything else. And it sounds like with each event that you're having, you're providing an education for folks. Now, when is the next brunch, and where is it going to be?
It will be on Sunday, November the 12th, at the Lobbyist, which is on Main Street in the Chiska Hotel down in the lobby. And that brunch is from 11:30 to 2 o'clock p.m. And this particular event specifically benefits this scholarship for the students, the event that we do in the fall.
I'm curious, Stephanie, in terms of this, and we talked about the cost of education, but I'm more interested in the interest level of these students. Are you finding, as you go along with what you're trying to do here, that there is a genuine curiosity, that there is a genuine interest from young people who may be aspiring to be the next great chefs in this world?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I guess what we're seeing, basically, you got programs already set up, Chip. I don't know if you know this or not, at schools like East High School.
I did not know that. I did not know that. Yeah,
where they're actually curating and cultivating in many cases, a program for young culinary artists.
That's
who
great.
will go on to a place like Southwest, and they will train under people like Stephen Leake at Southwest. And then from Southwest, they will go on to University of Memphis to get their 4-year degree. So it's many, I guess what you say, a way of matriculation that these students can go. Yes, sir.
This is really, now see, this is the kind of thing that, clearly we need more of. You have shared that East High School is being involved in it. I take it you would like to see more schools offer programs like this to these young folks?
Absolutely. Yes, I think that this is something that could be equitable in some cases with what you're seeing with programs through More Tech. I'm just using something like that, for instance, where people are, the young people are being taught welding or aircraft maintenance or TCAT, different programs like that. If they were doing something like this that was edifying young folks, I think they absolutely would, go this route.
Well, I got to be honest. This is an incredible program as far as I'm concerned, and you're opening up a window of opportunity to young folks who may not have thought about it initially, but are thinking about it more now, and they could be the next great chefs to come out of Memphis, Tennessee. And I really applaud you for your efforts here in terms of this. And what your organization is doing. Let us know one more time, Stephanie, about the brunch, when it is and where it is, and if people want more information about how they can be a part of it, the floor is yours.
Okay, I appreciate that, Chip. The brunch will be November the 12th, and it will be at the Lobbyist. It will be the first event going into our spring event, which will actually be held April 20th and the 21st. We have 3 days of events that we're actually fundraising, just so you know that. Our event in April, on April 20th, which we do a grand tasting, which tends to be one of our largest events. It brings anywhere from 700 to 800 people a year. And so it's a very fun event, and it's an educational event. That particular the grand tasting will be at the Medicine Factory this year. We always like to go to interesting places that maybe people have never been before. And then we'll have something called a sparkling brunch that following day, which will be at the FedEx Event Center.
Sounds amazing. Absolutely amazing. And listen, again, congratulations to you. I salute you for what you're doing to try to improve young minds and open up the wonderful world of the culinary arts to so many. Stephanie Ferreira, thank you for coming on the show tonight. Vintage 901, ladies and gentlemen, and participate in this. Get involved in this, because you're not only helping, you're not only being, giving good food, good drink, the whole 9 yards, but you're participating and helping young minds, and that's what it's all about. Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Chip. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie Ferreira, you know what, Vintage 901, doing big things out there for the young people out there who have dreams of being the big chef. And, look, we're not going to be here forever. We need to learn and cultivate the next generation. I always say that. So anytime somebody is doing something like this is a big deal. As far as I'm concerned, and I hope that a lot of folks who may be listening to this or checking us out tonight, if you know somebody who's interested in that world, hit them up. Tell them, look, Vintage 901, something you might want to look into. Excellent interview there. We're going to take our final break of the broadcast, and hopefully on the other side we'll talk a little bit about film and filmmaking and what is involved in that. And my next guest has always thought about other folks as well in terms of training and teaching and exposing them to this particular effort. This is Real Talk Memphis for a chilly Monday evening in Memphis. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
WYXR is supported by Mempho Presents and GPAC, presenting Victor Wooten and the Wooten Brothers on Friday, November 3rd. The Wooten Brothers combine the talents of bassist Victor Wooten, Steve Miller Band keyboardist Joseph Wooten, guitarist Reggie Wooten, and drummer Roy Futureman Wooten. More information available at gpacweb.com.
At WYXR, we are committed to uplifting local organizations and businesses who are making an impact in Memphis. If you are looking for ways to spread the word about your business on air and want to support WYXR at the same time, email us at sponsorships@wyxr.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you, and very happy to have you along with us this evening as well. There are the arts comprises a lot. There's a lot that goes into the arts, and one of the things I think people enjoy most out there is the art of films and filmmaking. And we just had I think we just had something here in reference to films here in our city. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this because this young man who I'm about to bring on has been a filmmaker for quite some time. He's got a project out he'll talk about in a minute that you can actually see, on one of these, I don't know what you call them, streaming services or what have you. And he's in the middle of a current production as well. He is Robert Salone, and he joins me now. And full disclosure, he's my cousin. So it is good to see you. He was talking about football during the break, and he's a big Minnesota Viking fan. But my friend, it's great to see you, cuz. And how are you tonight?
I'm doing really well tonight, and thanks for having me on your show. It's exciting to be here.
Well, look, man, I'm glad you can make it. So first of all, talk to me about film making and the desire to do it, and how you got into this in the first place. Have you always been interested in film and filmmaking and everything that goes into it? I mean, how did all this start?
Well, that's an interesting story, because when I was growing up in Minneapolis, you take field trips when you're in like the 5th and 6th grade to go to different zoos and stuff.
Sure.
Well, in Minneapolis, there's a place called the Guthrie Theater. They took our class down there one day, and they had an exhibit called The History of Film, and they showed all types of movies and stuff like that, and all different stars from the silent era, Alfred Hitchcock, and I was like, wow, that's something that I would love to be able to do, but there was no Black role models at that time that for kids to look up and say I could do that, right? Or that there was even an avenue. How would you fund it? But everybody goes to the movies. So, but I guess career and all that stuff gets in the way, and, it sort of put it on the back burner. But then one day I met with a group of like-minded filmmakers at a meeting, and we kind of all got together. We actually left the initial group and we formed our own group called Genesis Creative Entertainment. And our mission is to expose young people to filmmaking and the arts. We take them through how to write a script, because everything with film starts with the story. If you got a great story, we can make the film part work.
Sure. I was looking at your page, your Facebook page, and right now you're in the middle of the production of a movie called The Jester, which is going to be coming out next year sometime. But I want to back to what you just talked about. Teaching these young people, and I was looking at your page, and you have a lot of young folks that are working on this project, being a part of something that is going to be something once it's all put together. But they all look happy, and some of the comments were like, man, I'm just having a ball. I love being a part of this. I love doing this. And you have to feel good about the fact that you're not only teaching these young folks, you're exposing them as well to this business, but you're teaching them, and they really seem to be enjoying themselves in that process. Do they not?
Well, yeah. I mean, you never know how something you'll say to a young person or you'll do with them, how that might just be the spark that they go, wow, I'd like to go out and do that. Mm-hmm. And so when they get in and they're doing it themselves, we just provide the structure, but we make them write their own scripts. We make them learn about the 3 stages basically, which is pre-production, production, and post-production. And within those 3 categories, there's a lot that gets done with regard to responsibilities. So it teaches them responsibilities, it teaches them a schedule, and it also gives them an opportunity to get behind the camera and have some fun.
Absolutely that. So tell me now, you have you've already got a feature that you've completed that's making the rounds, on the streaming services. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, let me give a shameless plug. You can find it on Tubi and Amazon Prime, but it's called A Reflection of Evil. And a lot of I deal in a specific genre, and that's psychological thrillers.
Psychological thrillers, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I was always a big Hitchcock fan, not because he tried to scare you, but just from his techniques that he used. And so the psychological thriller that A Reflection of Evil most of my films deal with a person's inner challenges. Like if we took the guardrails off, right, and didn't control ourselves, what would we be capable of, right? How would we control ourselves? And so A Reflection of Evil is about a young lady who, when she was growing up, had some trauma, and so she created these games to deal with her trauma, but these games later turned into quite the let's say killing. She manipulates a lot of people. Let's just say that.
Wow. So how difficult is it to once you've done your movie and you produced it and you guys put everything together? How difficult is it to get it on one of these, like Tubi, you said, and Amazon Prime? I mean, is that a bit of a process as well to get them to accept it, to broadcast it? I don't know how any of that works.
Well, when you're first going through it, that's one of the things that we offer is, I've been through it, so I help others so that when they go to try to do this process, but it used to be that you have to have a representative agent or a lawyer that would take your film and market, or you go through a festival and try to get your film purchased so that they can market it.
Right.
But today you have distribution 2.0, which is like Film Hub for people out there. And Film Hub basically is one of the largest distribution companies for films, especially independent films, in the country, probably. I don't know what their international market is like, but what they'll do is they'll take 20% of whatever the film makes if they choose it. You keep 80%.
Oh, okay.
And you are responsible for promoting your film if they accept it. So what you have to do is they have different criteria. Has to be at least 2K. It has to be in a certain format. You have to have subtitles. And they walk you through the process of what you have. And once it clears quality control, then the rest is up to them. They'll get it out there, and if companies take a look at it, then they will sign up to license it. So far, I've got mine on about 17 different streaming services.
Oh, wow. So quickly, your current production, you have already talked about psychological thrillers, and I don't have much time here. It's called The Jester. When is that going to be ready for release?
That's going to be ready for release, and probably in the fall. We have one more day of production, and then it's going to go into post-production. You can always check out, The Jester 2024 for IG, and my website is twotussfilms.com, and that has the history of my films and stuff like that. And let me give a shameless plug for Genesis Creative Entertainment Group.
All right.
If you want to get involved with similar programs, go to Genesis Creative ENT.org. And, we welcome people even from different areas we'll show them how to get a program started.
Well, man, look, that's great. Really proud of you and all of your efforts here, and more importantly, to engage these young minds in something that is fun and creative, and something that they can learn from. And who knows, they could be the next big director, producer one day. You never can tell. Robert, thanks for coming on the show tonight, man. I was really excited to have you and to talk about all this. Really appreciate your time. And when we get closer to the film, we're going to chat again, okay? When we get closer to the next film release.
I would enjoy it.
All right, man.
You have a nice evening.
You're right. Take care now. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a wrap on what I would consider a very good show tonight. Really appreciated all my guests. And, of course, I'm going to have to go home now and check out Robert's first film. I'm going to have to give my own critique on all of that, since he's at 17 streaming services, for gosh sake. Anyway, look, it's been a great show. And as always, I really appreciate you being a part of it. All of you who checked us out tonight. I see Audrey Hill is on there. Denise Harden, she made it. And Jay Worth, my guy, he's on as well. Connie Mae with the 3 hearts. I really appreciate you. Now, I can't see everybody. I can't see anybody else who's on here, but I really appreciate you. And Brent plays us out. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who continue to support our show. I hope that we are providing information and talk that you get something from. At the end of the show, you say, you know what, that was a really good show. Really appreciated what he had on there. We try hard each and every week to bring you something that you're going to remember, and hopefully something that you're going to like enough to come back and visit us again. And more importantly, go out and tell somebody about what we are doing here at Real Talk Memphis. So for all of us here, for Nicole, for Bryn, for Lola, who's on the level right before us at 5 o'clock each and every Monday evening, I am Chip. You know who you are. Listen, go out, be safe, have a wonderful week. And until next time, we are out.